Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I thought I'd do a video looking back at a few things about the VCR and the VHS tape. About like what the very first movie ever put on VHS tape and the last Hollywood film commercially to be released on VHS tape, along with the first VHS tape I bought, and how long I actually was using the VCR. Because I used it. Of everyone in the family, I used the VCR the most. I'm sure I did. Anyways, I'm not sure when we bought our VCR. It was probably 82 or 83, I assume. And what happened was, we lived out in the country, but not super bad, but bad enough that they wouldn't. It's different because they wouldn't bring cable out to where we were at. And my dad wanted cable real bad. I mean, this is back like I don't know. I think cable came about like HBO. I think became a thing in like '78. I'm not exactly sure what cable came about. And I know my dad was sick of watching regular TV. He wanted to have cable real bad, and they wanted to come out to where we were at. I remember our first watching cable was when we went to my Uncle Bob and Aunt Kathy's. Oh, 80, 81 for like, was it 2 weeks? I mean, the summertime, a week or 2 weeks, I can't remember. And watched a bunch of stuff on Showtime. Uh, and my dad wanted cable really bad, and we didn't have that. We had an antenna, and he had like this big chip. We had this big chimney. It was a two-story house, and he put like a giant antenna up on top there. I'm surprised he did because he's afraid of heights. But I mean, before I knew he was afraid of heights, he went up on a ladder, put it up there. He put it up there really good because I mean, we never had any problems with it. There was a big thing that came down, and we had alligator clips, and they had like the UHF. They had like two sections of UHF and VHF, and you put the alligator clips on the one, it'd be like the main channel, like 12, uh, 1 through 12, and the other ones were like 24 to whatever. You know what I mean? Anyways, we had to take them off when it rained because you don't want to get struck by lightning. I don't think that ever happened though. Anyway, so back in the '80s, '83, we got our first VHS. Well, actually, first we got a video disc player from RCA, and I did a video about it through Mace Electronics. It was like, Dad was excited again. He's $108, so I'm going to get this thing. And we went to Mace Electronics, and it was a RCA video disc player, but not like the ones that look like records. Not like the laser disc. It's a video disc, which is like a cardboard, like a cardboard cover with like a plastic encasing around the outside of it. And it was called a CED, capacitance electronic disc. And they spent like over $50 million developing this stuff. And when they finally released the technology, it was already out of date. And I guess it didn't last that long, just like Betamax didn't last that long. VHS became more popular. And I remember we bought that. I think we have like 10, 12 days, and it broke twice. But you had to put it at a slant and you had to put it a certain way. And my mother tried to do it, she broke it the first time. And then it broke a second time. And broke first time, and dad got another one. Broke the second time, and the guy said, "Hey, these things are junk." And we're about ready to get rid of them anyways. Yeah, I think and so my dad actually paid the extra $30 and got a VCR. And I'm glad he did because they got rid of those because we rented a whole bunch of movies there. I mean, the electronic discs there, the video discs from RCA. We rented a whole bunch there, but that was the only place that ever carried them. And after my dad got to be VHS, a VCR, I think like 2 weeks later they got rid of them, so that would have been obsolete anyways. And I've never been able to find any other any video discs at all. I'm not talking about laser discs. I mean video discs, the old school ones. Anyways, my dad paid the extra uh $35 and got the VHS. I remember the very first VHS tapes we rented were Superman 3 and Kramer versus Kramer. Now, with the laser disc, the video disc player, the very first movie we ever saw on there was Owl and the Pussycat with Barbara Streisand. Cause my mother had like I don't know what I think my mother wanted. I don't know. My mother was there, so I can't remember what she wanted. Anyways, so you have that, and I know the VHS, the VCR player. I mean, I've used that. I've used it more than any other person in the family. I think I was pretty much using that right up till 2013, maybe a little bit in 2014. I kind of stopped, after that. Now, within that time frame, I remember I people always talk about Blockbuster. They used to place say, "Oh, Blockbuster this, Blockbuster that." I wasn't a big fan of Blockbuster because all they did was they only sold certain tapes. They would not sell unrated tapes. They would not sell like graphic horror movies or anything like that. They only sold certain one that's like a I don't know. It's like they were too they too sensory. You know what I mean? They didn't sell certain and they didn't sell adult stuff either. It was just like about as mainstream as you could get. I'd like go to the mom and pop places where they were playing. They would sell stuff like um, what was it like? Make Them Die Slowly, movies like that, or Doctor Butcher MD. Whereas Blockbuster wouldn't have that, or like Face of Death. Blockbuster wouldn't carry stuff like that. The mom and pop place or the grocery stores did. So that was where I liked renting tapes. I was never a big Blockbuster fan. And I remember this is back in the day when you actually would pay for a membership because memberships eventually became free. But I remember before you pay like I remember one time Dad paid like 30 for my birthday. There was one video place for a lifetime membership. I was like $35 with like free rentals on my birthday. He got it free for my birthday one time. So there was that. I've been a member there. Well, that place is no longer around, but it was there for 20 years. And my use of the VHS and the VCR has been like 30 years. Well, anyways, uh, the very first movie I ever, well, the very first movie released on VHS was way back. Oh, the South Korean movie made in 1972 called The Young Teacher, about like this one teacher trying to raise the spirits of her class all they had through volleyball, whatever that is. I never heard of the movie. I mean, I think VHS tapes became readily available in 1976, and it was a movie that was from 1972, but the very first one released on video disc. And this before they had the video rental places too, and they used to sell the VHS tapes to be outrageously priced. Uh, cause I remember like when we got VHS, I remember Dad and my sister and I went to see ET. My mother, I don't know, she had no desire to see any of this stuff. Um, we went to Sears because Dad wanted to buy it on VHS because he wanted to own a copy of it. And we went to Sears and it was like almost $300. He's like, hell with that. So we didn't really own a lot of tapes back then. We would buy like the blank tape so we could tape stuff or what have you. Or like we had the video disc video the VCR head cleaner, which was one I used to get the one from I think it was from Scotch, and you'd put it in there from Scotch tape. But I mean they used to release VHS tapes too, and you put it in there and it says whenever you're able to read this clearly, your tapes are clean. Your So I mean your VCR is clean. So we had that and that. I think like the blank video set was like around $9. And I remember the very first thing we recorded was a thing called all right, I'm back. So I had to cut the tape. or cut the recording thing. Anyways, the very first show we ever taped was a show called Phillips Bleeps and Blunders, which was like a low rent version of Bloopers and Practical Jokes. The show was okay. I like Steve Lawrence and Don Rickles, but the script that was written for him was so cringy and so like overly cutesy and stuff. Like, ugh, you know what I mean? Where it's like, and the Ed McMahon, Dick Clark stuff on Bloomers and Practical Jokes seemed more authentic, but the stuff they wrote for Steve Lawrence and Don Rickles, who are great friends, who are wonderful friends, I know that. Uh, it just was really cringy. It was bad. But that was the very first show we recorded, and the very first movie we recorded was on CBS Late Night Movie. It was the How Did the Baskervilles with Basil Rathbone, an old one. We recorded that one, and then I remember they used to have something like once a month on Saturdays called Embassy Night in the Movies, and it would show like movies that Avco Embassy were released, like The Soldier, Eddie and the Cruisers, The Howling, uh, Take This Job and Shovel, which I missed. I still have not seen that movie. I really want to see that movie. Take This Job and Shovel. I've heard good things about it. And the movie that flopped real bad was based on that song by Johnny Paycheck. They made a movie out of it. Just like I remember they did Harper Valley PTA. And oh my God, Barbara Eden looked so hot in that movie. I always thought she was, boy, I was blown away by her. I remember as a kid, I mean, really liking Barbara Eden a lot. Well, anyways, okay. They had I think the very first episode I saw that I recorded was a Chuck Norris movie, the one that no one remembers, called Eye for an Eye. I've been recording that, watched it numerous times. Now I should see if I can find it and watch it uncut. I've never seen the R-rated version of it. I should watch it uncut and do a review of it too. All right. So that's what the first movie we recorded, first TV show we recorded. And like I said, whenever like my dad wanted to get like the VHS for ET, and it was like almost $300. He said, forget that. VHS tapes were very expensive back then. So basically we just rented tapes. That was it. We were happy with that. Uh then later on, I mean some videotapes were more affordable eventually. And I remember like the very first one I ever bought, because we didn't buy too many before I went in the Army. And the Army was a completely different story. The very first one I bought, I think, was like $6. It was a version of Day of the Triffids, a science fiction movie I've always wanted to see. It was like a British movie about like there was like this giant meteor shower, and everybody was watching it. When it happened, almost the whole world was watching, and everybody who watched it became blind. So I mean, it talks about like being invaded by aliens from another planet, like aliens, where the whole world was blind. Almost all the world was blind. Great movie. Anyways, later on, I remember like in McCoy's they had a couple VHS tapes. I think they're like $10 a piece. Dad said we could pick out one or two, and I think I got Godzilla versus Megalodon. That's the one that had Jed Jaguar on it. I remember getting it, and then we returned it because the tape was screwed up. And then they had some Bruce Lee ones. And I said they had two of them. They had Fist of Fury and Chinese Connection. And Dad said I only picked one, so I picked Chinese Connection because that was a longer movie. It was like an hour and 8 minutes, where Fist of Fury was only 95 minutes. And that was really good. Okay. And I remember like my Uncle Bob and Aunt Kathy mailed us. They bought us the Police Synchronicity concert, so they bought us that. I remember my sister ordered from this one order form that one at the place we used to go to, Home Video Exchange in Edinburgh. And I remember she ordered that Tears for Fears video. It's like $30. It only had like 3 videos on it. It's only like a half hour long, or 5 videos, I think. They had like shout, everyone wants to rule the world. It's only like a half hour. video cassette, but she bought it though. Anyways, when I went to the army, that's pretty much all we bought. We might have bought a few other blank VHS tapes, and that was it. Now I went to the army. The very first video cassette I bought, I was on break between like for Christmas vacation. I remember buying that movie Shark with Burt Reynolds for like $5 or something like that. I didn't see it till later on. But I remember buying that one. And this is back in the day where you could rent a VCR because we used to go to mom didn't have VCR, but when I came over from the army, mom would you could rent a VCR from the store, right? I don't know how much it was for overnight or something like that, and rent a couple tapes. And it became in this weird container where you couldn't mess with it. It's really weird, but they used to rent video VCRs at Country Fair. I'll never forget it. And she rented a few there, and that was different, but they don't have that no more. Now, I mean, when I went to the army, like I said, I got that one during Christmas vacation. I remember watching. Oh, I did. I watched it at my dad's. Now in AIT, I started buying some tapes, and after I started amassing a huge tape collection. And I remember they used to have like this thing you could. Oh, they give you so much credit, like in Germany, overseas. I mean, through the army, you take out a loan, and you get up to like $1,000, something like that. I remember buying a VCR and a tape. I mean, and TV, a TV, and taking it back to the barracks, and then you just have to pay off your loan. I was pretty good, you know. And the very first uh, tapes I bought in Germany were The Hand with Michael Caine, and then David Bowie had like they used to have some called Sony used to release these music videos or they said music for your mind or something like that, right? And it was like a half-hour video. It was like David Bowie day in and day out. And it featured like the day in day out video, right? And then after that, it had and I don't really think it was a full half hour. It may have been like 20 some minutes. But it had like the day in day out video, day in day out, day in day out, like that, you know. And the second song was "Loving the Alien" from the dance album. And this the other one was "Day in Day Out." And then after that, they had like a dance version of "Day In Day Out." You know, those are what I bought. And then, like I said, I acquired a mass collection over time, you know, because like the first few months in the military, you know, you didn't have time to get anything or whatever, you know. Um, so leaving the military and then going back home, like I said, I used to be VHS or the VCR up till 2013. Now, the very, very last movie to be commercially released by a Hollywood studio. Now, I know a lot of the things like they record, like they're trying to bring back, like you have independent movies that are like recording on VHS tape that don't count. I'm saying the last commercially released major Hollywood release to be released on VHS tape, and that was in 2006. And I actually owned this. I actually owned this tape and watched it. It was A History of Violence, a David Cronenberg movie with Viggo Mortensen. Wonderful, very powerful movie in that Harris. And I actually owned that videotape too. I remember buying that at Dollar General for like $5. So there you have it, the very first well, a little personal history, not the whole thing, and that take forever. Personal history about the VHS or the VCR. My personal history with it. The very first movie to ever be released on VHS tape, the very last one to be released on VHS tape, and the very first one I ever bought. I ever bought. So I hope you like this video, everybody. Till next time, please take care of Legion. And I gotta look to see if I can find. I keep Yeah, I gotta look see if I can find that uncut version of Eye for an Eye, the Chuck Norris movie, and then I gotta see if I'm watching right now the 1977 William Friedkin movie Sorcerer, and I want to hopefully do a review of that movie. So I hope you like this video. Bye. Till next time, please take care, Legion. Yeah, good.